The Pentagon is going to publish 98 photos of tortured detainees in U.S. prisons in Iraq and Afghanistan on Friday. The ACLU announced this, and after 10 years of the government blocking the move, they gave in here. RT reports the ACLU filed a Freedom of Information Act request demanding the government to reveal records including photos of the alleged abuse of prisoners by U.S. officers in the American detention facilities overseas back in 2004. Despite Obama's initial promise to release the requested materials back in 2009, he then urged Congress to pass a special exemption clause to block the release of photos, citing security reasons, adding that the publication of the photos would not add any additional benefit to our understanding of what was carried out in the past by a small number of individuals and would further inflame anti-American opinion and put our troops in great danger. So, to be clear here, only 198 out of the 2,100 pictures are going to be released on Friday. Let's understand this, man. The argument that was originally made by the Bush administration was, no, you guys don't get it. Don't be softy, liberal, pussy idiots. We have to torture people because we got to keep America safe. Am I right? That's what we got to do. And then notice how we've come full circle. Now, I didn't give you all of the quotes in this from all the different officials that are involved in this, but President Obama and others have said, well, no, I mean, we can't release it because then we're making America less safe. Wait. It was the political establishment that argued, we need to do it to keep us safe. We need to torture to keep us safe. Today, the argument is, we tortured and it made us less safe. Which is it? Got to make up your mind. One or the other. No, the reality is they had no evidence to say it kept us safe. And so now, when they don't want to show the world what we really did, they say, well, this is going to make us less safe, and this is, we have to suppress this because it's not adding anything to the conversation. No, that's actually not true, because if people see in America what was done in our name with our money, well, then we're much more likely to go, no, never again, and prosecute the sons of bitches that did it. And they don't want that. The establishment does not want that. No, because the law doesn't apply to us. The law, it just exists for the other. But responsible elitist men, people in the establishment, they're able to override the law and get away with it, and it doesn't count. It doesn't count because we say we meant well. But wait, we saw the Senate torture report. The endless list of grotesque ways in which we tortured. I love how the bulk of the conversation was on waterboarding, which is one where, at face value, people would think, now it is torture, there's no doubt about it, but at face value, people would go, well, that one seems debatable because you're just pouring water on somebody's head. If you don't know anything about it, that's going to be your thoughts. But we saw in the Senate torture report, that was like the least of what we did. They did sleep deprivation. They did loud music torture, played loud music endlessly, basically till you drive the person insane. They did anal rape. They would shove tubes up guys' asses and pump food in there. And then they spoke to medical experts. They're like, we don't do that. They were like, no, it's cool. It's just anal feeding. They're like, that's not a thing. What are you saying? No, don't do that. You don't do that. They did hypothermia torture. They did mock burials. They told people, I'm going to rape your mother. I'm going to kill your family. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. At least 20% of the people that we tortured died. The guy who died from the hypothermia torture, they poured cold water on him, left, and it was cold in the room, died overnight from hypothermia. He was innocent. And that's just one. This is just what we know. Apparently, all the information wasn't even released in the torture report. But it's an endless list of grotesque ways that we tortured, which gets to the main point, guys. When you talk about, hey, I'm going to give you an ideal scenario that I just came up with right now from watching like 24 or some shit, and say, in this situation, would you torture? That is inherently a misleading conversation, because whether or not you greenlight torture, you're never just greenlighting it in these perfect theoretical ideal scenarios where you think you're 100% doing the right thing. If you give it the green light, obviously, the overwhelming majority of the time, this shit is going to happen. You're going to torture the wrong people. And this is all apart from the conversation as to whether or not it's effective. And if you listen to John McCain, who was tortured, he says, no, it's not effective. I'm just going to tell you whatever the fuck you want to hear in order to get you to stop torturing me. So people can get wrong information and can torture to get false confessions. But that's a whole nother problem. But the bottom line is, this is what you're really okaying if you okay torture, which is why the laws against torture exist and which is why they should be upheld. Guys, we killed Japanese soldiers in World War II for torturing our guys. And then now we turn around and say, and specifically they waterboarded. We're like, that's a death sentence. How dare you waterboard? A wildly illegal act. This is against international law. This is against all human rights and norms. And then we do it and we're like, shh, we meant well, so shh. What? And they didn't mean well? Perhaps they were waterboarding to try to figure out if there was going to be, I don't know, say, a nuke that would kill hundreds of thousands of civilians in, say, Hiroshima or Nagasaki. No, but see, this is the thing. You have to be objective, and you either you believe in international law or you don't. So if you're against Iran torturing and doing all these horrendous things, you should be against yourself doing it. If there's anything you take away from this show, it should be this one thing, that you have to apply the same standards to yourself, or you're just a fucking hypocrite, and probably an idiot too, but definitely a hypocrite. When I do it, it's okay. When they do it, it's bad. No. You're not the good guy by definition. Nobody's the good guy by definition. Your actions define who you are. You are what you do. So therefore, if you tortured somebody, you're the bad guy. You become the bad guy. And again, for those of you who don't know how people, for example, got to Guantanamo, as we talk about all the time, it's not like we had special CIA agents finding, hey, you're an Al-Qaeda, come here. They grab them and then they bring them and they torture them and get information that prevents a terror attack. No. The government in Pakistan and Afghanistan made a deal with the Bush administration, and the Bush administration said, send us guys who are Al-Qaeda and are threats to us. They go, yeah, sure. They turn around, they round up all anti-government protesters, and they just send them to us, and they go, they're Al-Qaeda. And then, of course, we lock them up. These idiots don't do any fact-finding, and they end up torturing and detaining the wrong people. Which is why you need a trial, which is why you need a system in place. This is why due process exists, you idiots. Not for shits and giggles. You have due process to try to figure out whether or not you're right and who you got. For some reason, the small government people who never trust government on anything, but they know they got it right when you're locking up people who you think maybe not are jihadists. Hey, they got brown skin close enough, lock them up, throw away the key. No, that's not okay. That's not okay. You're a bad person if that's what you're in favor of. And this is this one isn't debatable. Do you believe in transparency? Do you believe in freedom and democracy? Do you believe in a government that's responsive to the people? If so, there is no question here. Yes, I'm going to see what you did in my name with my money so that I can try to prevent it the next time you try to do it. This is no different from learning about how we used Agent Orange and napalm and firebombed innocent villagers, citizens, women, children in Vietnam. People made the same arguments against that. Oh, no, you can't release it. It's going to increase vulnerability against our troops. We got to hide it because it shows how much bad guys we are. Whoops, did I say that out loud? No, don't release it because something, national security. It was a bullshit argument then. It's a bullshit argument now. Let's see it so we stop it the next time.